Hey coin lovers! Welcome to the Worth Old Coins channel, your place to discover the hidden value and rare facts about old coins. In today's video we're revealing the top 5 valuable coins, and one of them might just be in your collection. So don't skip this video, let's find out their real worth. Top 1. The United States 1987 P. Washington Quarter Dollar is a copper-nickel clad coin that carries a rich blend of American history, numismatic interest, and practical everyday use. It was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and the small letter P mint mark, located just to the right of George Washington's ponytail ribbon on the obverse, identifies its origin. This mint mark is significant because Philadelphia quarters before 1980 bore no mark at all. The P was only introduced on quarters starting in 1980, so collectors can quickly recognize post-1980 Philadelphia issues. On the obverse front, the coin features the familiar bust of George Washington, first President of the United States, based on the original 1931 design by sculptor John Flanagan. Washington faces left in a dignified profile, and around him run the inscriptions Liberty at the top and the national motto In God We Trust to the left. At the bottom is the date 1987, denoting the year of mintage. The artistry remains faithful to the design that debuted in 1932 to commemorate Washington's 200th birthday, demonstrating the nation's long-standing respect for its founding leader. The reverse back continues the classic Flanagan design used from 1932 until the start of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. It portrays a proud heraldic eagle with wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows symbolizing preparedness for defense, while 2 olive branches below represent the desire for peace. The inscriptions include United States of America arching along the rim above the eagle and E pluribus unum out of many one just below the national name. At the bottom is the denomination quarter dollar, clearly stating the coin's face value of 25 cents. Compositionally, the 1987 P quarter is a copper-nickel clad coin, meaning it has outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This gives it a total weight of 5.67 grams and a standard diameter of 24.3 millimeters, with a reeded edge of 119 tiny grooves. This clad construction replaced the 90% silver content found in quarters minted before 1965, making it more durable for circulation and immune to the sharp rise in silver prices. The Philadelphia Mint produced an estimated nearly 1 billion pieces of the 1987 P quarter, making it a high mintage, circulation-type coin. Because of that huge quantity, most examples remain common and are typically worth only their face value in circulated grades. However, collectors still prize well-struck uncirculated mint state coins, especially those with brilliant luster, full details on the eagle's feathers, and minimal bag marks. Certified mint state coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services can carry a small premium. Deeply reflective proof-like examples are rare from Philadelphia and can command added interest. Historically, 1987 was an interesting year for U.S. coinage. While no special commemorative quarter was issued, the nation was transitioning toward modern minting technology and improved quality control. The Washington quarter itself was approaching its 55th anniversary, with subtle die refinements ensuring sharper relief and better rim detail than earlier decades. Collectors sometimes note slight variations in strike or minor die cracks, which can add to the hunt for appealing specimens. From a numismatic perspective, owning a 1987 P. Washington quarter can serve as a tangible link between the long tradition of the original 1932 design and the later statehood quarter era that began in 1999. It represents the everyday commerce of late 20th century America, coins that jingled in pockets, fed payphones, and powered arcade machines while still carrying the symbolism of national unity and the enduring legacy of George Washington. Top 2. United States 1989 D. Washington quarter dollar stands as a late 20th century example of the nation's enduring quarter series that began in 1932. The D mint mark identifies this coin as the product of the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of the primary facilities of the U.S. Mint. That single letter found just to the right of George Washington's ponytail ribbon on the obverse instantly tells collectors its geographic origin and connects it to Denver's long tradition of high-quality coinage dating back to 1906, in 1989. Denver struck hundreds of millions of these quarters for everyday commerce, helping to keep the nation's economy moving with a steady supply of 25-cent pieces. On the obverse front is the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington, first President of the United States, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Above Washington's head is the single, commanding word Liberty, a tribute to the founding ideals of the Republic. To the left, in slightly smaller lettering, appears the national motto In God We Trust, reaffirming a centuries-old declaration of faith and civic identity. Beneath Washington's neck is the date 1989, clearly anchoring the coin to its year of mintage. The subtle textures of Washington's hair and the crispness of the rim are hallmarks that collectors examine carefully when grading these coins, since even small nicks or weak strikes can affect value. The reverse back carries the classic heraldic eagle design that had graced the quarter since 1932. The eagle perches proudly on a bundle of arrows representing the nation's readiness to defend itself, while a pair of olive branches rests below to symbolize the American preference for peace. Encircling the upper rim are the words United States of America with the Latin motto E pluribus unum out of many, one placed just above the eagle's head. At the bottom is the straightforward denomination quarter dollar. This reverse is a model of early 20th century design, balanced, stately, and instantly recognizable, making it a favorite among both casual collectors and seasoned numismatists. In terms of specifications, the 1989 D quarter follows the modern clad composition adopted in 1965 to replace the earlier 90% silver alloy. It consists of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin a total weight of 5.67 grams. The diameter is 24.3 millimeters, and the edge is finely reeded with 119 tiny grooves, a traditional anti-counterfeiting feature. This copper-nickel sandwich not only reduces costs compared to silver, but also provides excellent durability for decades of circulation, a fact proven by the countless 1989 D quarters still found in pockets and cash registers today. Production numbers underscore the coin's ubiquity. The Denver Mint struck well over 800 million pieces in 1989, ensuring that it remains common in circulated grades. Because of this large mintage, a typical worn example is worth only its face value of 25 cents. Nevertheless, collectors seek out uncirculated mint state specimens, especially those with blazing luster, strong feather detail on the eagle, and minimal bag marks. Coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional services such as PCGS or NGC can command modest premiums. Particularly sharp strikes or examples with attractive natural toning, subtle blues, golds, or russet highlights caused by years of careful storage are especially appealing to specialists. Historically, 1989 sits near the end of the long run of the traditional Washington eagle design. A decade later, in 1999, the 50-state quarters program would begin and forever change the appearance of the nation's quarters. Thus, the 1989 D represents one of the final years of the classic pre-statehood era, linking modern collectors to the coinage that millions of Americans grew up using in vending machines, payphones, and arcade games throughout the late 20th century. T is a small but tangible reminder of an era just before widespread debit cards and digital transactions. Beyond its role as currency, the 1989 D Washington quarter tells a broader story of American identity and minting technology. It reflects the careful balance between tradition retaining a design more than half a century old and innovation, as the U.S. Mint continued refining presses and dies to create sharper strikes and more uniform planchets. For hobbyists assembling a complete date and mint mark set of Washington quarters, the 1989 D is an essential entry often sought in brilliant uncirculated condition to showcase the artistry of Flanagan design in its full detail. Top 3. United States 1978 D Washington quarter dollar represents the final full year of a decade when the classic Washington eagle design still reigned unchanged and before the mint made several technical refinements in the early 1980s. The D mint mark, placed just to the right of George Washington's hair ribbon on the obverse, identifies this coin as a product of the Denver Mint in Colorado. That single letter connects the piece to the Rocky Mountain facility's long tradition of high-volume, high-quality coinage and allows collectors to distinguish it immediately from Philadelphia or San Francisco issues of the same year. The obverse front continues the celebrated portrait of George Washington, first President of the United States, designed in 1931 by sculptor John Flanagan. Washington faces left in a stately profile that was originally adapted from a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, a French neoclassical artist whose likeness of Washington was considered exceptionally lifelike. Around the rim appear the inscriptions Liberty above In God We Trust to the left, and the date 1978 centered below. Careful collectors examine details such as the sharpness of Washington's hair curls and the crispness of the rim to judge the coin's strike and grade. The reverse back retains the familiar heraldic eagle that had adorned the quarter since 1932. The eagle perches on a bundle of arrows, a time-honored emblem of national defense, while two olive branches curve gracefully beneath, symbolizing America's preference for peace. Encircling the top of the design is United States of America with the Latin motto E pluribus unum out of many, one nestled just above the eagle's head. At the bottom is the denomination quarter dollar, boldly affirming the coin's value as 25 cents. Flanagan layout balances strength and elegance, making the Washington quarter one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. From a technical perspective, the 1978 D quarter follows the copper-nickel-clad composition introduced in 1965 when rising silver prices ended the era of 90% silver circulating quarters. Each coin consists of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, producing a total weight of 5.67 grams and a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Its reeded edge, about 119 fine grooves, serves both decorative and anti-counterfeiting functions. This clad structure gives the coin a pale silvery appearance and excellent durability, allowing countless pieces from 1978 to remain in circulation more than 4 decades later. The Denver Mint produced an enormous mintage of well over 300 million pieces that year, ensuring that most examples are common today. Circulated coins generally trade only for their face value, but uncirculated mint state specimens can bring a small premium. Collectors favor quarters with bright original luster, minimal bag marks, and sharply defined eagle feathers. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC assign higher numeric grades MS 65 and above to coins that exhibit these qualities, and those top-grade pieces command the strongest prices. Coins with attractive natural toning, soft gold, blue, or rose hues from years of careful storage are particularly sought after by specialists. Historically, 1978 sits at an interesting point in Utes coinage. It was the last full year before the mint mark P began appearing on Philadelphia quarters in 1980, and just a year before the debut of the Susan B. Anthony dollar changed the appearance of American pocket change. For many Americans, the 1978 quarter recalls an era of mechanical vending machines, payphones, and arcade games, when the quarter was the most versatile coin in daily life. Its design had already proven remarkably durable. Symbolizing stability through the social and economic changes of the 1970s, 4 numismatists assembling a complete Washington quarter date and mint mark set the 1978 D is a key entry and also a natural conversation piece. It bridges the gap between the silver-era quarters of the early 1960s and the technological refinements of the 1980s, embodying both tradition and the practical realities of modern minting. Some collectors hunt for minor die varieties such as repunched mint marks or small die cracks that can add interest and modest extra value to an otherwise common issue. Top 4. The United States 1985 D Washington quarter dollar is a classic late 20th century coin that continues the long Washington quarter tradition begun in 1932. The small D mint mark, located just to the right of George Washington's hair ribbon on the obverse, signals that it was produced at the Denver Mint in Colorado. This facility, opened in 1906, has long been known for high-volume, high-quality coinage, and its single-letter mint mark gives collectors an instant clue to the coin's geographic origin. The obverse front bears the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan and first used more than half a century earlier. Across the top arcs the word Liberty, a tribute to the nation's founding ideal, while the motto "In God We Trust" is tucked to the left of Washington's chin. The bottom sits the date 1985, anchoring the coin firmly to its year of issue. Numismatists look closely at the sharpness of Washington's hair, the clarity of the lettering, and the smoothness of the coin's luster to gauge strike quality and grade. The reverse back showcases the time-honored heraldic eagle, an American emblem of strength and independence. The eagle stands boldly on a bundle of arrows, signaling readiness to defend the nation, while a pair of olive branches curve beneath, signifying a desire for peace. Around the rim appear the inscriptions United States of America and the traditional Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many. 1. The bottom legend quarter dollar clearly states the coin's face value of 25 cents. This design, used continuously from 1932 until the statehood quarter program began in 1999, is one of the longest running in U.S. coinage. Technically, the 1985 D quarter is struck from the modern copper-nickel-clad composition adopted in 1965, when rising silver prices ended the era of 90% silver quarters. The coin consists of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and carries a reeded edge of about 119 fine grooves, a traditional anti-counterfeiting feature that also gives the coin its distinctive feel. This copper-nickel sandwich construction produces the pale silvery color that most Americans associate with everyday pocket change. The Denver Mint struck a huge mintage of well over 500 million pieces in 1985, ensuring the coin's ready availability then and now. Because of this abundance, most circulated examples remain worth only their face value. However, collectors prize uncirculated mint state specimens, especially those with bright original luster, strong feather detail on the eagle, and minimal bag marks. Coins professionally graded MS 65 or higher by services such as PCGS or NGC can command modest premiums. Examples that exhibit attractive natural toning subtle gold blue or rose hues from careful long-term storage are especially appealing to specialists. From a historical perspective, the 1985 D quarter occupies an interesting place in the Washington series. By the mid-1980s, the U.S. Mint had refined its presses and dies to produce sharper strikes and more consistent planchets than in earlier decades, yet the design itself remained unchanged, a symbol of stability during an era of technological and social transformation. For many Americans, these quarters evoke memories of vending machines, payphones, and arcade games, when a single quarter could still buy a snack or a few minutes of long-distance calling. For numismatists assembling a complete date and mint mark collection of Washington quarters, the 1985 D is an essential entry. While common, it serves as a snapshot of late 20th century coinage and a bridge between the silver-era coins of the early 1960s and the dramatic 50-state quarters that would debut in 1999. Some specialists hunt for minor die varieties such as double dies or small die cracks that can add a touch of rarity and extra value to an otherwise ordinary issue. Top 5. The United States 1985 P Washington quarter dollar is a circulating 25-cent coin that represents both continuity and quiet innovation in American coinage. The small P mint mark, found just to the right of George Washington's hair ribbon on the obverse, identifies the coin as a product of the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia is the nation's oldest minting facility, and by the 1980s it had become a state-of-the-art operation capable of striking hundreds of millions of coins annually. The appearance of the P is noteworthy in itself. Philadelphia quarters carried no mint mark until 1980, so the 1985 P belongs to only the sixth year in which this identifying letter appeared on a Washington quarter. The obverse front continues the iconic portrait of George Washington, first President of the United States, designed in 1931 by sculptor John Flanagan. Washington faces left in a dignified profile derived from Jean-Antoine Houdon's famous 18th-century bust. Around the rim runs the word liberty, the nation's foundational ideal. The left of Washington's neck appears the motto "In God We Trust," while the date 1985 is centered at the bottom. Collectors judge strike quality by examining the fine details of Washington's hair, the clarity of the lettering, and the evenness of the rim. The reverse back preserves the classic heraldic eagle motif that graced the quarter from 1932 until 1998. A powerful American eagle perches on a bundle of arrows, representing readiness to defend the nation, while a pair of olive branches curves beneath to symbolize the desire for peace. Above the eagle's head is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many. One encircling the upper edge is United States of America, and at the bottom appears the denomination quarter dollar. This enduring design embodies strength and balance and was a familiar sight in American pockets for nearly 7 decades. Technically, the 1985 P quarter follows the copper-nickel-clad composition adopted in 1965, when rising silver prices ended the era of 90% silver quarters. Each coin consists of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving a total weight of 5.67 grams and a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Its reeded edge, about 119 fine grooves, not only provides a tactile grip but also serves as a traditional anti-counterfeiting measure. The silvery surface color results from the nickel alloy, while the copper core shows faintly as a reddish edge when the coin is viewed from the side. The Philadelphia Mint struck well over 500 million pieces of the 1985 P quarter, ensuring that it remains common in circulation today. Because of this high mintage, typical worn examples carry only face value. Nevertheless, collectors actively seek uncirculated mint state specimens which display bright luster-sharp details on the eagle's feathers and minimal bag marks. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional services such as PCGS or NGC can command modest premiums, and those with exceptional eye appeal like attractive natural toning in gold, blue, or rose hues are especially prized. From a historical perspective, the 1985 P quarter captures a transitional moment. By the mid-1980s, the U.S. Mint had refined its technology to achieve more consistent strikes and improved die quality compared to earlier decades, yet the Washington design itself remained unchanged, a reassuring symbol of stability during years of economic growth and rapid cultural change. For many Americans, these coins recall an era when a single quarter powered payphones, vending machines, and arcade games, making it the most versatile coin of daily life. For numismatists assembling a complete Washington quarter date and mint mark set, the 1985 P is an essential entry. Although common, it connects the silver-era quarters of the early 1960s to the dramatic 50-state quarters. program that would begin in 1999, collectors sometimes search for minor die varieties or errors such as double dies or small die cracks that add interest and modest extra value to this otherwise plentiful issue. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.